Welcome into the Hustle Show podcast. Football is back. We got NFL week 1. We got college football week 2. So we are in full force. I am Drew Martin, joined by Kelly Stewart, Adam Trigger, and CT Bets, Chris Thurston. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Guys, go check them out, vivatequilaseltzer.com. Get it shipped to your house. Flavor, they've nailed it with a range that's as bold as our bets. Huckleberry, elderberry. And did I mention the artisanal Blanco tequila? It's a sip of pure genius that pairs perfectly with those triumphant moments we live for. Great to drink when you are cashing bets. Going around the horn here, I guess we could start off with Chris Thurston. Follow him on Twitter at CTBets16. CT, welcome on in, bud. How you feeling?
Drew Martin Bets, I'm having a Viva. Feeling pretty good. Had a really good weekend last weekend, Drew. Cashed a lot of tickets. Swept the board, actually, and swept every single game I gave out on this show, Drew, if you weren't keeping track. So it's going into NFL week 1, starting tonight. I'm going to get a little 1-2 combo going, Drew, here. And it's kill or be killed season. So off to the races. Here we go.
Here we go. We got Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, wagertalk.com. Kelly, how you feeling?
Good. I'm trying to post on Instagram because, that's Trig's job. CT said kill or be killed. I'm ready to kill Trig. It's only week 2, but I'm very proud of him for hanging in there and putting up with how mean I am to him as far as, technology's been this week for us.
Hey, it's okay. It's just getting started here this season, guys.
If you wonder why Trig has a blue hue, he can get into that himself.
Trig, take it away.
I to be honest with you, Kelly, I get back here. All I'm doing is trying to bet this Louisville football game under because the FCS lines come out 1 minute before game time, and I'm on camera. I'm trying to bet. There's a huge thunderstorm going on. I got lightning and thunder, so it's dark out. Apparently, it's making me blue. But that, and all I'm trying to do is just bet games, drink a Viva, hang out with you guys, and you're just giving me such a hard time. I didn't know I had more Instagram responsibilities. I'm just hearing about that now. So, but other than that, it's great. I need football season. Baseball has been abysmal, so I really think football couldn't come at a better time, and I'm going to have a huge season because I just had a miserable baseball season. That's how it works. Great college basketball season, atrocious baseball season. Now it's football. The good luck is going to come back my way here, I think. So, I'm ready for football.
And we're going to be bringing some winners, hopefully some winners your way, as we got Abby in the house, Titan CT, J Buff as well, Leg Show Magazine, Rudy, all of you guys in the live chat, welcome in, and feel free to chime in below. Where you agree, where you disagree, all is welcome. CT, what do we got for a big game breakdown?
Well, Drew, it's no surprise to everyone that, I'm very high on the Hawkeyes this year, the Iowa Hawkeyes. And both Brian and Kirk Ferentz, that you could tell last week that they're a lot more comfortable this year with their players and their personnel, right? And I think it's going to pay off, Drew. So the Cyclones, they're without starting quarterback Hunter Deckers due to the gambling. They have Rocco Beck. He's pulling the trigger. Now, he doesn't have a ton of experience. He didn't throw the ball much last week, Drew. I don't know if you saw the game. He was 10 for 13 for like 113. I wasn't too impressed with the Cyclones last week. They only had about 250 yards total. They beat Northern Iowa 30-9. Northern Iowa threw a pick 6 going in. They had another turnover in the red zone. They were actually outgained by FCS Northern Iowa. Speaking of FCS, so Cyclones, they're well coached. The talent just isn't there this year, especially missing the 5 key guys due to gambling. Iowa, Drew, they got the blueprint to win in Ames, and they're going for 5 straight in Ames, actually. Not to mention, this could be Captain Kirk's 200th career win, Drew. His players absolutely love him. They know this, okay? And how much it would mean to him getting the 200th win versus in-state rival Iowa State. This game will be won in the trenches, as it always is. And I'm confident the Hawkeyes, they're going to come out on top here. A good friend of mine, he's very dialed into this program. He tells me Cade McNamara, the trigger man for Iowa, is a lot more healthier than they're making it out to be. I repeat, a lot more healthier close to 100% here. So I think that Kirk Ferentz is trying to kind of hide Cade's or kind of making a tell a little bit that he's a little more banged up than he is, Drew. So big game breakdown for me is play on the Hawkeyes. You get -3.5 right now over Iowa State in Ames.
Well, Cyhawk breakdown, my favorite rivalry name there, Iowa and Iowa State. Good start here. Kelly, what are you liking for big game breakdown?
Yeah, Drew, I'm going to go to the ACC. I guess technically one of the teams is in the ACC. I'm going to fade a lot of teams this week that have looked really good in their starts, most notably Notre Dame. Nice, easy 2-0, but who did they play? Come on, give me a break. We all saw them just trounce Navy, and then last week play a cupcake from Tennessee. Look, the Wolfpack last week offensively, I'm not going to lie, we didn't see a lot from this team. And maybe that's because they were kind of looking ahead past UConn. UConn was in a dogfight most of that game, but I expect to see a lot better offense this year. These types of teams that get a lot of hype, we know that they can inflate lines. I made this game 4.5, so getting 6.5 with the Wolfpack. 3-0 is home underdogs. Obviously, Hartman has faced this team before. Last 3 seasons, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I expect more of the same. I like the almost a touchdown at home, but I like the plus money even better.
Good start here, Kelly and CT bringing the heat. Trig, what do you got, man?
I can't wait till I'm going to go to the ACC for this 10:30 matchup between Cal and Stanford. That's going to be awesome. But anyway, the time being, I'm going to go to the NFL. I threw it out on Twitter. I said, what game do you want to hear for big game breakdown? Because I've been on shows all week. And we got a lot of Packers-Bears, and I've got an opinion there. So let's do NFL. Let's talk Packers-Bears. I think the Packers have a big advantage in this game on both lines, meaning their offensive line should push the Bears' defensive front around. I don't think the Bears' defense is very good at all. I think they've started to grab some players that might make their defense better down the road. But as of right now, I still think this is a pretty bad defense, and the Packers should be able to run at will against them. More importantly, it seems like the Packers, everything's revolving around Jordan Love. How is he going to play? He's the wild card. If he plays well, this Packers team could be pretty good. But in this matchup, I don't think they're going to need a whole lot from him. I think the Packers are going to be able to run the ball. Jordan Love can probably run the ball too. And he's going to be able to sort of move around with his legs. The throw should be easier. I don't think he's going to be really tested by this Bears defense. So I don't think he's going to lose them this game, which would, again, another reason I would like the Packers here. The Bears, they definitely got better. They went out and got a receiver. That's, what I've been hearing a lot during the offseason. Okay,
I love it. I love it. We lose Trig to the thunderstorm. Couldn't be more perfect.
Wait, am I back?
Yeah,
you're back.
Anyway, yes, unfortunately, you're back. Let's talk about the Packers.
It could happen. It is getting crazy out here right now. We have a big thunderstorm going on. But as far as just to make it quick, I'll wrap it up quick. I wouldn't want to get cut off again. I think the Packers have a big advantage in the trenches here. Offensive line, defensive line. I think they're going to be able to run the ball without issue. And on the other side of the ball, I think they can get to Fields, which is going to give them a nice advantage in this game. So I like the Packers. Didn't make my card. I missed the move here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they went off favorite. And for that reason, I think the Packers are a viable option for Sunday NFL, and that is my big game breakdown.
Well, NFL there for big game breakdown. Guys, I'll follow that up with a game I'm very intrigued by. It's my Auburn Tigers and the Cal Golden Bears. We get Auburn -6.5, depending where we're shopping, using the Wager Talk live odds screen, and 54.5 being the total. I didn't go by game over the last 70 years of Auburn football, but I believe they played at 2 Pac-12 teams in pretty much their history, and they're 0-2. I'm throwing that out the window. One was all the way back in the 1930s. And another thing here, I heard a couple people just talking on the internet about Auburn playing 10:30 Eastern kick, and hey, they're going to be tired. I throw that out right when I hear that with college kids. Late doesn't matter. Early, maybe, not late. But look, transfer portal, we saw it with Colorado. Is Auburn back? I don't know. They look pretty good against UMass, who look good against New Mexico State. I don't know how much we can bring that in. And Cal, how good did they look against North Texas? Well, wait a minute. Is this Mean Green team down? They went through a coaching change as well, had a lot of exodus there. But I'm seeing Auburn -6 we can buy them at. I'm almost feeling it's a little fandom in me. That's why this isn't a best bet, anything like that. But big game breakdown. I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn shows up pretty well. And I think that both offenses are able to move the ball. So seeing this total in the mid-50s, I think we get up and over. Late night action, degenerate special. I'm excited about this one, watching my Auburn Tigers. I wanted to open it up to kind of the group. Anything on that? And Trig, I know you were involved with FIU. I brought up North Texas there, not looking good against Cal. And I'm seeing this FIU team catching a bunch of points against North Texas. I'm sure, just kind of ifs, ands, X's, and Y's. You had that game circled as well. Any thoughts on Auburn, Cal, and FIU, North Texas?
Drew, I actually have thoughts on both of these. Cal looked to get hit by some sharp money early in the week at some point. I don't know if I love it at the number. I kind of got away from that one. It was a way that I started to lean initially, and at the current number, I don't really want to get involved there. But North Texas, I know that it got played at -13. I actually would lay the points there with North Texas. So I did bet FIU. It was a nice win, but if you look at the gameplay and the stats in that game, they got absolutely dominated. They got outgained by a ton. And if you just look at the statistics, they were probably fortunate to be where they were in that game. Of course, they go up 14-0 early, and that was really helpful for them. It allowed their defense to kind of dig in and keep them in that game. I think North Texas probably rolls. I think North Texas is just a far better football team. They should be pissed off after getting blown out last week. So I would lay the points with North Texas. Didn't make my card yet. Don't know if it will, but it's certainly the way I would look in that game.
CT, did you want to throw out anything before we get to best bets?
I think we should talk about tonight's game for a second here, right? In the NFL. This is the marquee matchup. It's NFL, week 1, opening night here, and all the talk is about the Chiefs because now Travis Kelce is ruled out, right? We know Chris Jones is out. And the line move here. So now you could get the line is currently Chiefs -3.5, -4. There's 3.5s out there that I'm seeing right now at the Wager Talk odds screen. Now, Drew, do you think that Kelce and Jones are worth that many points? The Lions' money is flowing in. Everybody that I talked to in the gin mills today while I was on my route, they said Lions outright. Lions are going to win the game. So is Travis Kelce the only person that could catch the ball from Mahomes? I don't know. Or do they have other people that could catch it? I was kind of mind blown here, Drew. I think we're getting a nice discount here on the Chiefs. I hopped in. I took Mahomes and the Chiefs to get it done here. You get -3.5, -4. Yeah, I'll play that all day long.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here. Sorry, go ahead, Drew.
No, I was just saying that most of 3.5, all the 3.5s on the Wager Talk live odds screen just got taken out. It's now 4.5, Kelly.
Yeah, I figured at some point you're going to see some buyback, right? I never really thought that the Chiefs are going to lose this game, particularly at home in prime time. But I will say this, and this is the asterisk. If you got to bet this game, the only way you could probably look at it now is the Chiefs. You could have had 6.5 for like the last month on the Lions. If you're only betting it because Travis Kelce's out and Chris Jones out, that's the wrong reason. On the flip side, all the talking heads are can't discount Mahomes, can't do this, can't do that. Well, we've seen some regression from this Chiefs team, particularly against the spread as of late. I wouldn't be surprised to see this end in a field goal. John Murray and I got in a huge fight yesterday on the podcast, so he made me do a same game parlay today. So just to be a dickhead, I took Amon-Ra St. Brown, 12-1 to score a first touchdown, and I took the Lions over 10 for the first half. So I do lean towards the over in this game. Nobody wants to be an under better against the Chiefs and Lions. That's a little square, but I do think both these teams are going to start out really hot. So I'm stealing that one from Andy on this week's Bet On It show.
Okay, guys, I'll follow that up with I'm kind of liking some points tonight. Saw some trends looking towards kind of week one and overs in the first game, but I was looking towards the Detroit Lions. Couple reasons why. Plus 190 on the money line. 17-9 is dogs of +3 or more under Dan Campbell. I think it kind of speaks to just tough mindset under him. 8-3 last year as an underdog. That was the Detroit Lions. And number 5 in yards per play. That was kind of surprising to me. This offense a little bit, I guess we could call them sleeper, from a team that had no playoff wins in 23 years, since 1991. I'm actually going to look to bet on the Lions. Nothing crazy here. First game out. I didn't want to. We have a lot of NFL in front of us, guys, but don't want to sit on my hands too much as a sports bettor, and I'm a little antsy. Plus the fact that Chiefs 14-25 against the spread as favorites of more than -3, and with the injuries, all those trends being in. So I like the Detroit Lions plus 4.5. You can get them at, or plus 190. Trig, what are your thoughts on tonight?
So it's an interesting game. No action for me in terms of on the side a couple weeks ago. I would have really liked the Lions. If I could have jumped in when it was 7.5, I would have liked that. Didn't like it enough to bet it. And at this point, I kind of like the Chiefs because I feel like the overreaction has really when it was Chiefs -3.5, we were talking off air. I think the only way you could bet it at that point is the Chiefs. And I don't know that, Travis Kelce is worth that many points. Now, as far as the total is concerned, again, square, we've already, established it. I like this over. I think the Lions have a great offensive line. I've talked about them a bunch in the offseason, that I was really impressed with their roster coming into this year. They're not a team I really want to bet against, but I do think that they're going to give some points up. But with that offensive line, they should be able to score some points as well. So this kind of feels like one that just ends up getting there, played in the maybe the low 30s or high 20s to low 30s. And if that's the case, it's going to get over. So I think my strongest sort of lean in this game is the over. That's terrifying, but that's how I see it.
Why you say it's terrifying? You feel like it's square?
Yeah, of course it always feels square to take an over. It just does. But I agree with Trig. I mean, I could see this being 34-31, no problem. Chiefs win it. Would not surprise me in the slightest.
I think the Lions are going to run the ball a lot with Gibbs. I don't know. I think they're want to keep it on a little bit, work that new back in. I don't know. Can Goff really throw the ball with Patty? We'll see. I don't think so.
But he's got a solid offensive line. It's going to give him time. That's the good news.
I was going to say, can't you? If the Lions do run the ball, I could see them having success running the ball because that offensive line is as good as you're going to find in the league this year. They're a top 5 offensive line.
The defensive line for the Chiefs, it's not great.
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna bet against the Chiefs as much as possible. I just didn't really want to do it here. It's just a weird spot to have to do it on opening night like that. And again, like I said, a month ago, if I really loved the Lions, I would have bet it then. But I do think they can score some points. I lean toward the over.
Trey, I agree. I just want to point. I think anybody that's coming in right now and saying they're betting the Lions at +4 because Kelce is out, you're brain dead. So this isn't for you. And even if you win, congrats to you. But find a different hobby.
Yo, we got Nick in the chat box. What is up? Welcome in, man. Jarvis as well. Abby, Titan CT. After the delay, back at you here, Trig.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say there's other ways. If you're going to bet on the Kelce injury, there's other ways to make a good bet in this game, in my opinion, that isn't taking Lions +4 when you could have had them +7 a few weeks ago. That's just the scenario where you just got to move on. I missed it. Oh, well. You know what you can do is take advantage of in-play betting. If the Chiefs march down the field and score, you can probably get your Lions price in play. That's way better than taking like a 4 when you could have had a 7. It's just, you can't do it.
Were they ever really at 7? I watched that closely.
I don't
I don't
know.
know if it was
They
ever
might have.
7. I think it was 6.5. It never went to
Yeah,
7
maybe
just because of
6.5.
the Caesars, I think.
Some book somewhere opened at 7 this summer, but you're probably right. I would say 6.5 is the fair number to quote right there.
Yeah.
I guess a question to this, CT, like, how much do you think a non-quarterback can be worth to a point spread? And would Kelsey be one of the top?
I think maybe a point.
Okay.
A point and a half. I think that it's insane that we're talking from 6.5 to 3.5, and like you said, Drew, we're seeing the buyback to 4. Now I'm seeing 4 flats right now. But Kelsey, we knew, everybody knew Chris Jones was going to be out. That's not a surprise, okay? And now you're going to tell me that Travis Kelsey is worth 2.5 points? I think that's ridiculous. A lot of people always ask me, CT. Everybody knows that I'm good friends with Kenny White. And what does Kenny think? And, wants us to have him on the show. And you know what? This isn't a promotion for Kenny, but go buy his power ratings because they're great. It's $20 a month. And I think I said on this show last week when Kelly and I were getting into it about Florida, Utah. Okay, well, Kenny thinks that Utah still makes it Utah -10, double digits. Well, I could say the same thing about tonight's game to give everybody a peek under the covers. So I agree with them. And I just don't think that, to answer your question, Drew, that Travis Kelsey is worth that many in an NFL game. I think that's just ridiculous.
So here's my question, CT. Sorry, go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, go ahead, Kelly. No, you go
No,
ahead.
I just want to, I like to play devil's advocate because I agree with most of the stuff that CT just said. I would make Travis Kelsey worth about 2 points because I would say that he is Patrick Mahomes' #1 receiver, even though he plays tight end. So my question is, who are you thinking is going to get some of these reps? Juju Smith-Schuster is now in New England. That's kind of my question mark. Now, again, we know how talented Patrick is. That's never been up for debate. But I kind of just have some questions. If it's not Kelsey, then who? I mean, are they going to run the ball with Isaiah Pacheco?
Well, I was just going to say, what about last year when everybody was like, oh, my God, who's the running back for the Chiefs? And Pacheco comes out of nowhere and shreds everybody. Okay, what about Valdez-Scantling? Okay, well, all right, sure. They have wide receivers that come out of nowhere that no one even knows about. How about McKinnon? Okay, well, how about him? Like he gets some targets as well. So I'm not really worried about who they're gonna use at the wideout position. They have athletes that could catch the ball, and if we're gonna base a game on the tight end Travis Kelsey, I just think that's absurd. So I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Hey guys, we got opening night here. You think this is going to be like the biggest bet game in like the legal betting markets in history, Kelly? I was watching a little segment on CNBC. No. For regular season? No,
not at all.
Okay.
I've seen offshore markets say that they have more action on Colorado, Nebraska than they do on any NFL game this weekend. Now, keep in mind, it's Thursday night at 7:30 on the East Coast. We have tons of time left before the public actually starts to get involved and start making their bets. Come Sunday, that's not going to be factual, but come Thursday, it is. I think Monday Night Football is going to be a big deciding factor for a lot of the books, whether they make money week 1 or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. I saw Dave text that too. That's wild that Colorado getting that much pub, but hey, you can see why. It was kind of fun to watch.
I don't really like to give a lot of those offshore markets very much publicity, but Dave Mason, very sharp bookmaker. I like to follow him on Twitter because he always does provide some good insight. Speaking of that, I'll look and see what he said the final splits end up being on this game, because at first they all needed the Lions. Now I wouldn't be surprised if they don't need the Chiefs tonight, given all this public influx of money over the last few hours.
CT, we have a question here in the chat box. Do you trust Baylor plus 7.5? It's pretty gross, but I kind of love it.
So my initial reaction, our good friend AC Money texted me on Sunday when the line came out and was like, CT, what do you think? Yeah, I think it opened like Utah -4. And that's when the news hadn't broke yet that Blake Shapen was out. And I was like, that would be Utah or pass for me. And then the news broke that Blake Shapen was out for 2 to 3 weeks, and the line kept going up and up and up. And Drew Sawyer Robertson, the transfer from Miss State, I was actually shocked that he didn't win the job. Aranda named him the starter after spring ball, like even before they came back to campus. So didn't even really give Sawyer a fair shake. I think Sawyer isn't a downgrade at all. I have them about even. And then Sawyer came into the game last week, had some great plays. He knows how to play, knows how to throw the ball. The offense isn't a problem. I think it might be a little bit of an overreaction. Aranda is a defensive-minded coach, Drew. Texas State, in-state rival, maybe a look-ahead spot. Now that got up to 7.5, 8. I like the Bears to cover the game.
Love the question. Good breakdown there from CT Bets. Guys, we do have best bets coming up. We'll get some final thoughts as well. We are coming up against it time-wise. Kelly, did I forget anything before we get to
I
best
actually
bets?
just texted John Murray from the Superbook, and I asked him if he had anything he could share for me in terms of tonight. Just curious to see who they're ultimately going to end up needing. I saw one of the guys from Stations tweet that they were going to need the Lions, and then now kind of have to wonder if they don't need the Chiefs. Those looks behind the counter are always intriguing to me. Like Trent said, I took the Lions over, I think it was 10.5. Of course, I don't have that page open anymore, but I'm ready to get into best bets if you are.
Yeah, let's go. At Kelly in Vegas on Twitter. Check out her work. Wager Talk YouTube channel. You're already on it, guys. She's got a lot going on. So, Kelly, final thoughts, best bets.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Colts +5. I know that Wager Talk already tweeted it out, but different show, different people. Look, I'm not fading Jacksonville this year. I'm just not as high on them. No doubt, Trevor Lawrence looked absolutely incredible last year. I got to see him in person for 2 different games. But I think we're due for some regression with this team, right? And lots been made this week about the Colts in week 1. Well, those were under different coaches. They have a new head coach. They have a new quarterback. They have a new offensive coordinator. The only thing they don't have is a new owner, but I have a feeling that could be coming here soon. Jags 1-8 against the spread in their last 9 as a favorite. I'm looking to fade this team, taking the +5. I think they're worth +190 sprinkle on the money line.
Oh man, that's such an interesting one. I mean, you brought up a lot there about
It's disgusting.
Trevor Lawrence. Yeah.
It's disgusting. But divisional dogs week 1, we know, do really well. I'm not going to lie to you. In my super contest entry, I played 5 dogs. This is the week to do it. If you're a dog bettor, get to barking. I talked to Las Vegas Chris about it. I'm going to do a 5-team round robin, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 1-5. Just a small one, just for fun. See if we can't see some of these dogs win outright.
Kelly, wait, okay, let me just throw, you already said it's disgusting. Anthony Richardson, his preseason stats were pretty horrible. His completion percentage at Florida was 53%. That normally doesn't get better when you go to the NFL. I mean, does that scare you? That's what worried me about this.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Yeah. But again, Drew, we're betting numbers, not teams here, right? Like, does Anthony Richardson look like the second coming of Jameis Winston? Yeah, you never know what you're going to get. You're going to get a turnover. You're going to get a touchdown. You're going to get a pick 6. It's like so exciting, right? We know Jonathan Taylor, but just like Chris had just talked about in terms of the Chiefs, how many points is a running back who is potentially going to sit out of this game anyway due to contract negotiations? How many points is he really worth here? Let's think about
0.
it. 2?
0.
2, 2.5? You think 0?
Yep.
I mean, this line to me should be 3.5.
I don't think they're worth much.
So we know that 5 has historically been a dead number, right, Drew? It's no longer. I'd have to ask Ralph for the updated chart from last year. I think we stopped keeping track middle of the season. But we know that games have started to land 5 once they move back to PAT, missed PATs, teams going for 2 more, et cetera, et cetera. But something to really consider here is that there's not much of a difference between 3.5, 4, 4.5, and 5. If this game was 3.5, which if Jonathan Taylor was playing in, it might be, I would still take the home dog in the Colts here. I know it's disgusting. We know that the number one number that games land on is 3 in the NFL. And it's going to be that way till the end of time unless they start to change some semblance of the rules like a little bit more. But lots of guys in the comment section on the Colts as well. I mean, I had an old producer from CBS text me today with our good friend Ariel Epstein, and he was like, tell me you're not on the Colts. He was like sitting like puke emojis. Like, let's just be honest. That's what I bet. I bet disgusting games that nobody else wants a part of. And sometimes when you do that, you get your ass kicked. You lose. But you know what? What are you going to do?
Hey, if it ends 31-7 Jacksonville, you lost a unit. It is what it is, and it
that's the
looks
thing.
ugly,
If it ends 31-7 Jacksonville, then the spread never came into play anyway. Then none of it really even mattered.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that Yanni and I talked about yesterday. Is that we're always so mesmerized when games land on the number. They only land on the number about 10% of the time. It's not even that high. I'd have to look. He and I talked about, I'd have to rewatch the segment, but he and I talked about that the spread is off by like 10.6 points per game on average. That's as a well-oiled machine as the NFL market is that really that well-oiled?
Especially add on to this, we talked about it every game on the board, betting into uncertainty. Brian Power and I talked about it in our hustle short, guys, the new hustle shorts. Week 1 is even more uncertainty. Therefore, like, don't bet teasers as much in NFL Week 1. And like you're talking, I mean, the only thing that makes it worse is you got to deal with like Twitter comments of like, haha, what a stupid play. Like if you get blown out. Like
but come on. Like, you think I didn't get that last week with North Texas? You think I didn't get that with but nobody said a word about Toledo. Trig and I were both on Toledo, had a chance to win the game outright. I don't get a money line trophy for that one because they gave up on 4th and 4 with like less than a minute. What are you going to do? You know what? If you don't have thick skin, you're never going to make it in this industry. People love you when you're on top and they hate you when you're right along with them. It is what it is.
Well said. That was very words of wisdom from at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter. What is that trophy, by the way? Like, is it?
So I got it actually for our producer Joe Ranieri for this week on Bet on It, and it's such a piece of crap from China. They didn't even send me the gold placard that I could go get engraved. I was gonna try to like get a marker and write on it, but anyway. So we have CLV trophies now. I got everybody else one, and they should be arriving at your houses soon.
Nice. That works. I was hoping maybe it was
I don't need any more CLV trophies after last week. But
yeah, let's go to Trig. What's your Trig's best bet? 85 points of CLV last week in like 17 games.
Yeah, that was I had Colorado State last week at plus 14 from about a month ago. It went off 8.5. It lost by 100. So just how it goes sometimes. I have a couple sharp totals that I actually texted Kelly a nice CLV trophy earlier today. In one of my accounts, they played UNLV Michigan under 60. I think that number's long gone, but I do think it got hit again at 58.5 for what it's worth. And then Illinois Kansas under 58.5 and under 58 also got played in a couple of accounts. So I think those two are pretty good if you like totals. Just passing that info along. As far as my best bet is concerned, I try to mix these up on different shows. I did talk about this one earlier, but it is a 4% client play, so I wanted to give it out on this show, and that is the Temple Owls. I took the 9.5. I think they could win the game. I think you have two misleading results from last week. Temple won by 3, 24-21, against an Akron team that I believe is much improved. I bet them over their season win total. I was very impressed with what I saw out of Akron. They moved the ball great in the first half. DJ Irons looked awesome. And Temple went in at halftime, made the adjustments, shut them out in the second half, came back, and won the game. So I think that's getting looked at as, okay, well, they didn't cover 10. It's a bad whatever result. I don't think that's a bad result at all. I think Temple grinded out a win against what I consider to be a pretty good Akron team. On the other side, I think you have a very misleading result with Rutgers blowing out Northwestern, who I'll throw the hand up here. I got that one wrong. Northwestern was abysmal, totally incompetent. I should not have had a penny of mine or your money on that team, so I apologize for that. They were awful, and Rutgers won a game by 17 where they gained 285 total yards. It's going to be difficult to win games by that type of margin when you have no offense. I don't believe Rutgers has much of an offense. They were dead last in offense in the Big Ten last year, and I think they're going to be pretty atrocious offensively again this year. Now, Rutgers defense is a real defense. That's a good defense. They're going to be in games in the Big Ten this year because of their defense. However, good defense, no offense doesn't always get you covers against 9.5. And Temple, I think they can move the ball. They have a veteran offensive line. Their quarterback, E.J. Warner, looked good against Akron, in my opinion. And more importantly, he didn't turn the ball over and he didn't get sacked, which is sort of on the offensive line as doing their jobs. Now, Temple couldn't run it last year. They didn't run it at all last week, but I don't know that they would run it against Rutgers anyway. If Temple can move the ball through the air enough here, I think they'll be in this game. And I just don't have much faith in Rutgers putting up as many points as they did last week. And Drew, one more thing. As bad as Temple is at running the ball, I'd be willing to bet they muster up more than the 12 rushing yards that Northwestern had last week. So I think you're getting some value with Temple on the spread. I wouldn't be surprised if they won this game. They actually lost 16-14 in this matchup last year, and that was a far worse Temple team. So I took the Owls plus 9.5, and I would actually sprinkle here. I think Temple can win this football game, but I'm going to take the points and hope they just keep it close.
Like the breakdown, Trig. Hey, I got a bonus, like a Viva bonus for you. You brought up Northwestern, 12 rushing yards. They're hosting Kelly's Dana Dimmel UTEP, minus 1.5. Are we jumping on UTEP here?
You know, I looked at this game hard, Drew, because I took a loss with UTEP in week 0, and these are two teams that
that was the wrong
I got to be.
I really don't. I don't think that was terrible.
No, it's.
Let me jump in here really quick. Sorry, Trig.
Yeah, go ahead, Cal.
Dana Dimmel, you do not want to lay points with Dana Dimmel. As an underdog, we can maybe talk about it. That defense is supposed to be significantly better, but that offense was some of the worst offensive play calling I have ever seen. So no, I don't think, Trig, is this going to be the garbage game of the week? Because that's what it feels like it should be.
I'm going to do one tomorrow. It really should be. These two teams.
I like Northwestern.
Yeah, there's no way I'm taking UTEP here.
Yeah.
UTEP is so I got to say that, I liked them in that game against Jacksonville State. I thought it was the right spot. They could end up being really bad. They struggled with Incarnate Word before they eventually covered last week. But you want to know what the telling thing was in that game? I think the spread was 7.5. I'm pretty sure UTEP was a 7.5 point favorite against Incarnate Word. Someone will have to check me on that because these FCS lines come out so late. I saw it during the day on Saturday, but I'm pretty sure they were a 7.5 point favorite, and that tells me just about all I need to know. So I'm agreeing with CT. I think I'd lean Northwestern, and I think that total is insanely low. I'd probably lean over. I think by accident they might score 40 points. 38.5 is a really low total. It probably finds its way over.
Yeah, 40 in a college football game. But Kelly, not a Dana Dimmel fan, I'm guessing.
No, I'm not.
I know a lot of people jump on him.
CT, you want to give your best bet, or you want me to read John Murray's text message first?
Go ahead, read it.
Hey, Kelly, in his snide John Murray voice, we actually have a lot of money both ways. Overall, I'd say we would want the Chiefs to win, but not cover.
All right.
I don't do with that with what you will. But obviously, a lot of tickets are coming in on the over, but as Trig and I said, rightfully so. I'm done for the show. Okay, you guys.
All right. Drew, thank you for the follow-up question with Trig. So he, gave us 2, 3, fucking 4 best bets. So I'm going to go into mine. Dolphins at Chargers, and it's Sunday, Drew. And I honestly, I must really friggin' hate myself because the last time I bet on the Chargers, it was January wild card weekend. Okay, Drew? And I'm sure you remember it because you live in Florida and you root for all the fucking Florida teams. And the Jaguars came back. They were down 27, came back and put a hurt on me mentally, physically, and my bank account. I flipped the fuck out on Kelly and Joey Cheese through text. Broke my heart. Well, here I am. Okay, Drew? I'm coming right back with the Bolts Sunday. Okay? -3. I love the move for the Bolts. They grabbed Kellen Moore from Dallas. He's calling the plays now, okay? They promote Derek Ainsley, thank God, to bring some brains to the operation defensive coordinator to help Staley out. Who needs it? Okay. I think the Chargers are going to be much improved. Both sides of the ball this year. Expectations are really high for Herbert. They should be, right? They get a lot of familiar faces back. They didn't really do much in the offseason. Defense was a problem. But the problem was, Drew, they were missing Bosa and J.C. Jackson. Injured all year. Two of their best players on defense, okay? Last year, we saw the Chargers shred the Finns. Herbert threw for a ton. Miami's pass defense is a big, big problem. They tried to address it this offseason. They bring Ramsey in. Unfortunately for them, he's hurt. He's out for the majority of the year. I'm expecting the same result, Drew, this weekend as we saw last year. Play on the Bolts -3. That's my best bet. That will cash. And shout out to Titan CT. He's a big fan of this show. I don't know who he is. He talks to me all the time. We DM. He's a big fan. I love the guy. We never give him a shout out. He's always in the comments. So shout out to him. I'm going to keep cashing for you. Titan CT, you and James Ross, I live for you two. I live for you two. I want to put food on the plate for you guys to eat. Steak. All right, let's cash.
Wait, CT. How did you not? You
went over your
visiting
time
me during the Chargers game. He left out the fact that he was up here visiting. We went to the sports book to watch that Chargers Jaguars game, and after we blew the lead, this is Saturday night. We just like walked separate ways. I didn't see him the rest of the weekend. I didn't see, like, I never said bye to him. He was up here visiting me. When we blew that huge lead, we just turned and like I walked away.
Waking up to that was like
went to bed.
Was like Christmas morning.
Yeah.
I went to bed. It was 24-0. I was at my dad's house. I took a gummy. I was like, fuck this, I'm out. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, am I still stoned? Like, I can't open my eyes. Is this a final score? I would have been so mad if I would have been on the other side. Definitely finally got to cash a ticket that I wasn't supposed to cash. I'm sorry that it was at the expense of CT.
Yeah, it was a rough one. A memorable game for sure. But guys, something else that's memorable. Remember, it's not just a drink. It's a statement. Viva Tequila Seltzer.com. Embrace the vibes. Own that winning mindset. And let's live it up. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Raising a toast to cashing those tickets. Cheers to those. Viva vibes, guys. Viva Tequila Seltzer.com. Hustle20 at checkout takes 20% off your order. That's the coupon code Hustle20 at checkout. Viva Tequila Seltzer.com. Get it ordered right to your house. I'll finish it up here. Vanderbilt. There's only 3 football games left until this one, guys. We got tonight's Thursday night. We got tomorrow a Friday night game. At least on the regular board. We're not going on the circled action here. And then we got Vanderbilt and Wake Forest. Don't wait too long. This is 11 a.m., 8 a.m. Pacific kick. And I'm on Vanderbilt +10. Bet them on the money line too, guys. +320. Risk 100 to win 320. I think Vanderbilt goes in to Tobacco Road and wins outright. We get Clark Lee, 3rd season. They've won 4 of their last 5 games, going back to last year, beating Kentucky and Florida. Hey, we got a little bit of this bandwagon of Vanderbilt off because they didn't cover against Hawaii. Didn't look that great, but they're getting 2 of their defensive linemen back for this game. And remember, Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons, lost arguably the best quarterback in college football last year, Sam Hartman, to the transfer portal in Notre Dame. So I think there's big question marks here with Wake. We don't know a lot about them. They just played an FCS team. So I think Vanderbilt gives them a good push up front. They cover the 10. And I think they could win outright on the road here. That's the Vanderbilt Commodores. So, guys, that's going to do it for best bets. Anybody else got anything before we shut this down?
Good luck.
All right, ready to rock. Go check out Viva Tequila Seltzer, wagertalk.com as well. Best free live odds in the industry. Bunch of free picks up as well for this football season. So, for Kelly Stewart, Adam Trigger, CT Bets, I'm Drew Martin. That does it for the show. Thanks for tuning in. Cash those tickets.